together that they do it themselves and there's no need.
Yeah.
And as a healer, I try and not see too many people, myself and massage and stuff, of course, physically. But I try to get my way, I get myself out of my own way.
Yeah.
I said to someone the other day, my healing has gotten so powerful because I have nothing to do with it. I just step out of the way. I mean, as an arrogant healer when I was younger, it was like, I am Kerry doing shamanism and I'm this person and I'm the psychic and me.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, I was still pretty good at what I did, but I was always involved in it.
Yeah.
You know? And so therefore, you know, what kind of clarity am I getting? I wasn't sure in those days. I mean, I don't know, it's the 80s and everyone was denial and everyone looked fantastic anyway in the 80s, so it didn't matter. So, you know, there's that denial factor.
Yeah.
But everything is so transparent now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want. We want transparency, and you hear it in the government. More transparency with the money. Yeah, right. It sort of got covered up a little bit in the last few months again, you know.
Exactly. Transparent. It vanished.
Yeah, you know, like you can't, if you have a chip on your shoulder, people know. Like years ago, you never noticed it, you know? And like, oh, they're, but now, you know. People know exactly where you are. You can't pretend like if someone says, oh, how are you? And you say, oh, okay. And they'll go, oh, no, what's really wrong? You know, because the okay doesn't work anymore as an answer.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that, you know, just over the past decade or so, people have become so much more super sensitive than they were before.
And thank God, because it means that they're opening up to somebody else, not just themselves.
Well, and you don't have to, you know, like dance around the facts as much, you know? It's like, okay, you know, you can tell when somebody's not telling you the truth or if they're really kind of hiding something from you or...
And I think people want to be involved in each other's lives now, where it was very singular and, you know, very, well, there's people that I know, let's say, I don't know the massive part of it. I think it's still territorial and it's all, you know, very much about survival and...
Oh yeah, sure.
It's like I have a Mayan shaman friend, you know, and she was lecturing in California some months ago. And so they're going to ask her about the 12-12 thing because she's Mayan, like she knows, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I have the answer to all things. And she said, I have no clue. And she said, but I tell you one thing is that it's called the turning of the Pachakuta, which is a being that comes, a celestial being that comes back to the earth, right? And so if you ever looked at the night sky, especially in the southern hemisphere where the Mayans exist, the Milky Way is different there, the Southern Cross and all sorts of things. And there is a black hole in the center. In Australia, there's this kind of black space that you don't see any stars. And so, according to the mythology, and the Aboriginal too, is that the interesting, you must listen to Indigenous people because they understand what the organic world is trying to tell us. 25, 30 years ago, I knew about global warming from an Indigenous tribe before it was even spoken of.
Mm-hmm.
Because their crops aren't doing the same thing. Something's not happening. The weather, because they're right there.
Mm-hmm.
Our experience is based in a surreal environment, you know, so we're not that close to nature. Anyway, she said that according to their fabric of the universe, as they see the Milky Way as this fabric, a shawl, I don't remember the Mayan term for it, and a thread came loose, which is us. That the thread started to vibrate faster against the harmony of nature and the harmony of the universe. And so as this thread is getting out of control, what replaces the thread is harmony, is actually coming back into what we're talking about, caring and sharing and doing something for the environment or other people, or going out of your way to do something humanitarian, grow your own food, where does your food come from, what garden is it coming from, you know, basic stuff. Very basic stuff, not weird and strange techniques and stuff, it's just basic. And that's all she knew, that it was opportunity to give people the ability to shine and to come in harmony with others. Because if we think there's any strange, weird energy outside our planet manipulating and controlling us, wrong. It's our consciousness controlling the whole entire, every single little cell in the earth. Everything. And then there's the industrial pollution, but that's a byproduct of thought. It's a byproduct of greed. It's
Consumption.
Did you ever see that show? I think it was on Discovery, where 5 million years without people, what the earth would do.
Yeah.
It was fascinating. Like in 10 years, it was already reclaiming.
Oh, how lovely. I look at it and I go, oh, how lovely.
It just like did a thing. I mean, if we're not here, the earth's fabulous. You know?
What a shame.
How pretty. So if you go outside today, and when you do go outside today, do
Don't
something.
trash.
Right, do something. Pick up a piece of trash and put it in a container. Imagine if just every person who went outside today just picked up one piece of trash, put it in a container. What a big difference that would make.
It's like in the city here, you know, a shaman came here years ago and freaked out, of course, because they're not used to the city at all. And they said something interesting, that this is not real energy. It's energy based on pure outside stimulation.
That's
It's
very
not
curious.
soul
That's,
energy.
Yeah.
And so therefore it's dead energy. They said the only way that people really live here is because of oxygen
Yeah.
and food.
And food, oxygen,
And so it's
food, yeah.
stimulation on
True.
stimulation that's externalized but not soul. And that's why if the park wasn't uptown,
Yeah.
could be anarchy. No, people would get sick.
Well, I see the city as in competition with nature. You
Yeah.
know, I see this great friction going on here. You know, it's like, and I didn't realize this until like the other day when I was walking to the train, and I was walking down the sidewalk, and the leaves were everywhere. You know, and I was like, the leaves are everywhere on the concrete, and I was like, leaves are mulch, right? Leaves are mulch, which means they are to reproduce. They are to help the
fertilize the
ecology.
ground.
And it's like, no, and it occurred to me, it was like, wow, it's just like this,
A street cleaner comes and picks them up.
yeah, you know, or they get blown away further into the street, or, you know.
Yeah. But it is what it is. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
if it's not meant to be, the city wouldn't be here, period. But yeah, it wasn't interesting. And someone gave him, we went to the store and picked up meat, because indigenous people like eat steak, they love steaks. And it was in plastic, and he wouldn't touch it.
Really?
No, because it's dead. It's not. He looked at it like it was like somebody evil.
What the hell is that?
He wouldn't eat it. He only starved to death
So
being
he
here.
has to go like to the butcher, I guess.
I guess, I don't know, but he didn't have a lot of English, so it was just fascinating.
Fascinating.
Yeah, isn't it?
It is.
But at least he had the awareness where we just actually go and buy it.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have
Yeah.
any choice.
Yeah.
What we're going to do.
Yeah.
We've gone to the days where we hunt and gather stuff, unfortunately.
I wanna get myself. I've been talking about it. I wanna get back to that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I mean, not back to it in the sense that I've done it already, but you know what I mean. I want us to get back to that.
Absolutely.
And you know, that's one of the things I see myself doing at some point in my life. is
That's
doing
why
that.
I wouldn't be any shaman if I wasn't in nature consistently, but because it speaks to me. I understand the language of it. I usually make a priority if I'm out living in nature, or I'm down in New Mexico at the moment, then I'm going down to Florida, that I understand the plants where I am. So I always have books. So I understand the plants. If something happens, this is good for this, the healing and taking the tea and this. So I know. I have a wonderful friend, Robin, if you're going to watch YouTube. She's a biologist, plants? Yes.
Botanist.
Botanist. And she said that if you are stung by a plant, the antidote's always 5 feet.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, 5 feet from the plant that stung you, there's the antidote. Always nature works that way. Isn't that
Wow,
amazing?
that's stunning. Yeah.
Indigenous people told her, and I was like, my God, that's wonderful.
God gives you everything.
That makes sense.
Well,
though.
nature
It
is
makes
in harmony,
sense.
you know?
Yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Well, you know Bach
Yeah.
flower that's everywhere in every health food store.
And that reminds me of the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He heard plants. That's how he made them. He made Bach flower remedies way back in 1800s, I guess. And they're everywhere. Rescue remedy, this, that. I think there's 33 of them. They were made because he heard them. The plant said, mix this with that and this. And he became so paranoid and sensitive after a while that he couldn't handle people.
Yeah.
because you have to have a high degree of sensitivity to hear nature.
Yeah.
You have to really open your heart totally. It's a whole heart total experience. I mean, go into the fall in Vermont or something and you're like, you know, in the trees, or people are totally over the top when they see whales or dolphins and stuff like that, you know, because it resonates with what? Not your head, with your heart.
Yeah.
It's like Polendulin, the woman down in Virginia, same thing. She sat in the garden and Pan came to her and said, oh, broccoli mixed with this is a good tincture for that. And